Wow, I'm getting tired. It's late. I just spent half an hour chasing around a bee trying to kill it in my basement. But yeah, I gotta show you how to mix monitors. So we're gonna do that next, and I'm gonna walk you through it pretty quickly. It's pretty simple, and yeah, here we go. Alright, let's get started on mixing monitors. Your monitor mixes are typically, what they're going to be is your aux outputs. So on the 16 channel board here, you see we have 6 auxes, aux 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Each of those can be an individual monitor mix, or they can be linked, like I have these two linked, to become a stereo pair and go to left and right ears of in-ear monitors, if you're using in-ears that way, or when they're not linked, like so they will be, in each one would be an individual monitor mix. So your auxes can be plugged into, they can be going out to a powered speaker, that's a floor speaker or mounted on a stand, or your auxes may be going directly into a wireless in-ear monitor transmitter that's then sending out that monitor mix to your wireless in-ears. So let's get started on creating a mix. The way we're going to create a mix is, so first I'm going to unlink the stereo pair so I can show you. We're going to create a monitor mix. We're going to select we're going to go to one of the auxes, we're going to press the mix button. Now you can see here some different bars showed up here across this. Now, what each of these bars is showing, think of these lights here as faders down at the bottom for that aux channel. Each aux mix is essentially another main mix of faders going out of a separate output for that particular monitor mix. So say we've got, say your lead vocalist is on aux 1. He's going to be able to create a separate mix for him that nobody else hears, that only he hears, and doesn't affect the main mix, but he can get exactly what he wants to hear. If you're the person back at the mixer mixing, the way you're going to adjust that is each of the channels. So I've got lead vocal, on my mixer I've got lead vocal, backup vocal 1, backup vocal 2, backup vocal 3. If he says I need to hear more lead vocal, I'm going to turn up how loud lead vocal is in his aux channel. If he says I need to hear less of backup vocal 3 because they're singing off key, I'm going to turn down backup vocal 3 to where he wants it for that channel, and so on through all the channels. If he says I want more acoustic guitar, I'm going to turn up acoustic guitar. If he says I want more bass, I'm going to turn up bass. And so you're just going to go through and you're going to adjust his aux mix to get the mix that he wants. If you have a stereo output set up, like I do, and aux 1 and aux 2 are linked, aux 2, you'll see every other one here, aux 4 and aux 6, the mix button says mix/pan. If it's linked as a stereo pair, then the second section here, the aux 2 or the aux 4, or whatever of that second pair, when you press that button, instead of being how loud each channel is, it's the panning of how far to the left or the right that channel sounds in your in-ears. If you turn the knob, if the light on that channel, so we're dealing with the lead vocalist, if he wants to hear himself the same amount in both ears, we're going to have it right there in that middle section. If he wants to hear himself more to the right, we're going to turn it up. If he wants to hear himself more to the left, we're going to turn it down. You can see here this little L and this right, this R up here. That's right and left, just to remind you. Down is left, up is right. If you're panning. Not something most of you are going to have to do, stereo pairs, but you can if you want to. Yeah, it reduces the number of individual monitor mixes you can do, but stereo sounds great in in-ears, so if you can do it, go for it, if you have enough channels. Alright, also up here, you'll see in each aux a knob. What this knob is for is sort of like the main master fader we have over here going out to the speakers. This knob is the main volume knob for that whole mix you created. So if you have all of these turned up and you're not getting any sound out, your main output knob may be down. So we want to turn that up until the level of that output gets high enough going to that output. And the way we're going to select how high this needs to be turned is with, once you've gotten this mix set, over here on the meter section, we've got an aux button. We're going to press the aux button, and you can see I've got a little bit of inputs coming in here. Let's see here, lead vocal, so we've got some input coming here. If I turn this knob up, that volume is going to come up, how loud that output is. If I turn that down, it's going to go out completely. So when you're adjusting these knobs and everybody's playing their loudest and you've set that monitor mix, how loud and soft of each thing, you want the output level typically to be coming up about halfway to 2/3 of the way. Once again, probably about 2/3 of the way up, like we had it before when we're adjusting input levels, but now we're adjusting output levels. So you want to adjust it so it's coming up about 2/3 of the way, not coming up near the clip at all. You want to keep it away from there, and then adjusting your levels on your in-ear monitors from there, turning those volumes up or down. If it's a monitor speaker, we're going to set the gain structure the same way we set the output levels here. The initial setup, you're going to turn this knob up until you reach the clip point, reduce it back down to right below the clip, and while the mixer is still playing at that loudest level, you're going to go up and you're going to turn up that monitor speaker until it starts distorting and clipping, and then back the level off on it a little bit so that both of them are at their max levels. And then from there, you can come back and adjust from the board how loud or quiet that person needs their monitor mix for the overall monitor mix. Let me see, is there anything else I need to teach you about monitor mixing? Oh, if you back at the mixer want to hear that aux mix that you're mixing, you want to hear it in your headphones. We've got a headphone output right here on the mixer. Very handy to use for aux mixing. Never use it for mixing the main mix. Listen to the speakers, listen to the room. The way we're going to listen to what we're mixing for their aux mix is up here. We got the solo button. We're going to hit the solo button, and then over here on the headphone section, we're going to make sure this Q knob is up and PFL light is on. And then over in this section, we've got the headphone volume knob. That's where we turn up and down our headphones. But right below here, we select what we're listening to through the headphones. If the main light is on, we're listening to the main mix coming out of the going out to the main speakers. If this is on, we're listening to the FireWire input from the computers for playing iTunes or something like that. We can use that to queue up a song without it, without turning it up through the main speakers. If we got the tape on, we're listening to the tape input on the mixer. If we have solo on, we're listening to whatever's soloed. So up here, we pressed the solo button, and so if we have this down here, just if it's on main, it's going to be mixing in main and solo. So we want to just have on the solo button, and we're going to be listening to just the things that are soloed. Now, you can have more than one thing soloed at a time, so make sure when you're adjusting an aux mix that the only thing that's soloed is the aux mix you're mixing. So once that's soloed, come over here, make sure your solo light is on, that's the only light on. Make sure your Q is turned up, and make it how loud you need it in your headphones to hear it. But then you can go through and you can mix that monitor mix and hear the changes you're making and what they're hearing in their headphones as you make the changes. Now the really cool thing that is coming in June is a iPod iPhone app that lets each musician mix their own aux mix from the iPod. So their in-ear monitors or their monitor speaker is a personal monitor mix controlled by them over Wi-Fi with their iPod. It's going to be a free app coming out, really sweet. You can already control the aux mix with the iPad app that's out. The only downside of that is that iPads are expensive, but it can be done. So that is how you mix monitors.